Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We made it. We made it. And if you are here, that means you made it. And we are glad you are tuning in for the eighth and final show of the division previews, the NFL overviews, whatever you want to call it. We have reached the NFC North, certainly a division that is never short of intriguing or drama. And this year is no different. We got the Detroit Lions, the Chicago Bears, the Green Bay Packers, and of course, the Minnesota Vikings. And we are going to start with Germ So True, live from the Windy City, talking about the Chicago Bears.
The Bears. With that being said, I'm just gonna let y'all know right now, the views and opinions of Germ So True are not that much of the views from the 22 crew and the scene. So when I be mean, y'all understand. First and foremost, let's just start with the subtractions. They lost Ha Ha Clinton Dix, Leonard Floyd, Taylor Gabriel, and Troy Barton. Those are the guys that they lost that are, some of them are significant in certain areas and certain situations, but they're all B-level players at best when it comes down to it, so we're going to leave it alone. I think when it comes down to it, Leonard Floyd probably deserved another chance. He's had some problems with some injuries, but let's just get him out of there and let him go somewhere else. We draft in the draft, I don't know what they were doing. They drafted another tight end after they signed 2 tight ends in the offseason. So I don't know why they have 11 tight ends on their roster. But you know what? I mean, I guess they're going to bust out a personnel package with 4 tight ends, a quarterback, 5 linemen, and a running back. I guess that's what they're going to do. Were they going to bring it at? I guess they're going to bring back the wing T. But with that being said, they did also pick up Jalen Johnson, who I think could be a decent player for them in the secondary. Potentially, we'll see. They brought in the mighty Quinn. I think Robert Quinn should have stayed in Dallas or went somewhere else, but he decided to go here. Why would you do that? I don't understand. But with that being said, Jimmy Graham, why would you do that? I don't understand. But it is what it is. And then Nick Foles, the anomaly, Nick Foles, has decided he wants to play for the Chicago Bears. I have nothing to say about the offense. Zero. The defense, just try to hold these teams to 17 points and just hope that whatever quarterback is playing for y'all can do something for y'all. I just don't have no faith in the offense. I don't know how many games they win. Eddie Jackson, why did they draft you? I don't like that. It's just so many things wrong with y'all. I just think you crumble up my whole paper.
Listen, the Bears are nothing short of a disappointment, and this year's going to be no different. I'm with you 100%, Jeremy.
If they win 4 games, I owe y'all 20 push-ups per 4 games. I don't see it. I don't see it. I can't see. I lack sight and vision. I can't see.
Yeah, like Ryan Pace, the Bears GM, makes sense.
Where my glasses?
Give me
who they said won the starting quarterback position again?
Mitch. Well, he didn't win it.
They just named him Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, Mitch Trubisky. I don't know if he won it. I don't know if we're gonna go that far. Maybe, don't. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead, Vic. You got the Vikings.
Yeah, purple
with the $84 million quarterback.
The purple guys with the $84 million quarterback. They just gave him a nice little extension there.
Yes, they did.
You like that?
I want to start with their losses. By the way, our number 5 quarterback overall.
Yes, our number 5. Yes.
Real quick. I want to start with their losses.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a significant list. Okay,
mm-hmm.
You got the defensive ends, Everson Griffin and Stephen Weatherly, who was providing some really good depth for them. But Everson Griffin, big loss there at the right end. You got Daniel Hunter playing the left end, probably one of the best defensive ends in the league. But Everson was one of those guys that can help take away some attention a little bit from Daniel. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do there. 3 cornerbacks, Mackenzie Alexander, Xavier Rhodes, Trey Waynes. Trey Waynes may be the best corner out of that group, maybe, arguably, but all 3 of them, not significant, but again, that's some depth there that you lose in that secondary. Some guys that have been on that team for quite a bit. I don't know what's the big one between the two, so I'm gonna choose here Safety Andrew Sendejo. That's a big loss to me as a free safety for that football team. And then Stephon Diggs, wide receiver, went to the Bills. If I'm not mistaken, that was a trade. One of the best route runners in football. To me, he should be in that like always open list because it seems like the kid is always open.
Not yet.
Not yet. All right. We'll give him another chance, but we'll see with the Bills. Stephon Diggs. Real quick, they lost Laquan Treadwell too.
Mm-hmm.
One of the guys where I can admit I messed up real bad when I thought he was a first round top 5 pick. All right.
Happens.
I looked at him as a Des Bryant type of receiver, but hey. Anyway, Stephon Diggs would then lead me to their draft picks. Justin Jefferson, wide receiver out of LSU. Germ's number 1 receiver. Now, to me, he's not a number 1.
No. My number 1 was CD Lamb, sir.
Excuse me? Oh, yeah, you're
number
right.
1 was CD Lamb. I liked him a lot, though.
Justin was your favorite, though. Justin was your favorite. You know that.
Odell Landry was my favorite.
But he not in the draft, right?
I know, right? But go ahead.
So, Justin, to me, not a number 1. To me, he's not an X, but great slot receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Very high upside for his Z position. There is a lot of rumbling out of camp that he's already solidified himself as the number 3, as the slot receiver for this Vikings offense. So it's going to be interesting to see how long it takes before he becomes, one of the top 2 starting receivers next to Adam Thielen. First round, they picked Jeff Gladney, cornerback out of TCU. This is a guy that we thought was a second, third round pick. But again, I think they saw somebody that had was one of those tall corners, very physical corners. Again, they lost 3 corners in free agency, so they went with Jeff Gladney and also went with Cameron Dantzler in the 3rd round. But back in the 2nd round, they added some depth in the offensive line. This is a guy that we weren't a big fan of because there was rumbling that he was going to be a first-round pick. But I think they got him in a fair area there. Ezra Cleveland, tackle out of Boise State. And then defensive tackle, James Lynch, one of my favorite guys right there. I think that's a very sneaky pick to add some depth to that defensive line. This kid is a high motor player. He's got some size issues in terms of length and things like that you look for for an NFL prospect. But again, high motor, very technically sound defensive tackle. And their free agent list, it's not a big list. They didn't add too many pieces for the amount of losses that they had. Michael Pierce, defensive tackle, came from the Ravens, but he opted out, as far as I know, for this season. And Tajay Sharp, receiver, out of the Titans, adding some depth to that receiving core. Other than that, man, the Vikings, lots of losses that they had in the.
Wait, hold on. They added Yannick Ngakoue.
Oh,
that is a huge pickup. That's a huge gain in my Al Michaels voice.
Yes, he. My bad for that one. Good pickup. He will definitely. You can argue he's an upgrade over Everson Griffin. So,
yeah.
So defensive line should improve there with that pickup. But again, Michael Pierce opting out for that inside spot where Paul Joseph is no longer there. It's going to be tough for the Vikings to see how their defense will they improve. I think they might take a step backwards.
So I think Michael Pierce is actually the biggest loss of their season. I don't think actually, Vic, I completely disagree with you. I don't think Xavier Rhodes, Trey Waynes, Jaron Kearse, Andrew Sendejo, Stephon Diggs, Laquan Treadwell, Everson Griffin. I don't think any of those guys being gone is a big deal. Okay, I'm just being real. There's 2 safeties, Sendejo and I mean not Sendejo, Harrison Smith, and they just signed the kid Anthony Harris, who is phenomenal. Remember, Sendejo played last year with the Eagles, went back to the Vikings, and then the Vikings cut him. So he got cut by 2 different teams in 1 calendar year. I don't think any of those guys are a big deal. I think their 2 biggest losses are Josh Klein on the offensive line and Michael Pierce, who opted out on the defensive line. Other than that, I think that's a defense in transition, I agree with you on that end, but I think all those losses were roster hoarders, old guys, underperformers, guys taking up cap space. They all just had to go.
And with that being said, let me just get in here real quick as well. The Ngakoue pickup to go with Dantzler and go along with Dantzler and Gladney. What Minnesota does is they do a lot of things with the cover two and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives them the guys to be able to do that. With Dantzler being able to play where he plays. Remember, a couple years ago, they drafted a guy by the name of Mike Hughes. Mm-hmm. Mike Hughes now can shift over to play either the second receiver or in the slot.
Or in the slot.
You get Gladney to play the boundary as Dantzler to play the boundary.
Yes.
And that'll help a lot. And then we add better pass rushers. And Ngakoue is a handful. He is one of the most annoying pass rushers in football. And you put him with that monster, number 99. That
monster, yes.
Number 99 is a monster. I ain't even going to say his name. We don't say, if you listen, he's a monster. Mm-hmm. Those two dudes, they'll get Pierce back. I'm not worried about Pierce. But I'm excited to see how they gel. And James Lynch, real quick, just to say this, James Lynch was a player that I told Vic, I said, hey, man, this dude is interesting. And we fell in love with the motor, with the fact that he was more polished than people gave credit for, and all of the small nuances. That is another player that's going to be he's going to be a nuisance when it comes down to that third down. So when they hit that little horn, it's gonna get. It could get emotional.
It could get emotional.
I personally think that Stephon Diggs was Kirk's favorite target. We did debate last year whether it's Adam Thielen that should go. Stephon.
Yes.
I personally don't like letting go of tandems like that.
Yes.
You keep them. Again, the Justin Jefferson draft pick, great pick. They also do like the receiver that's going to line up at receiver number 2, which escapes my mind right now. But I don't know. To me, that Stephon Diggs is a big loss for that offensive. Other than that, I don't disagree with you with the other ones. Like I said, the corners were more about depth as opposed to somebody that they lost that's significant.
It's just a lot of bodies. A lot of bodies in the continuity. A lot of bodies.
But they had to go because Minnesota, as I've been calling them, they have been the biggest tease in football for the last 2 to 3 years. And this is finally a year of a little bit of transition. You know, Kirk is going to be there for the long haul, and you get younger, you get more cap space, you get some draft assets, and I think they'll be in a prime position to make a real Super Bowl run in 2021, 2022, 2023. I think the year 2020 for them is going to be a transition year. Moving on to the Green Bay Packers, we weren't supposed to do Minnesota collectively, but
we didn't even do the Lions.
Oh my goodness. Do we have to? Detroit, I got Detroit. I'm going to just keep it as quickly as possible with this one. The 3 biggest losses, Darius Slay, Rick Wagner, and Graham Glasgow. But their additions have been significant. I'll just be honest with you. Their additions have been fairly significant. First of all, they signed half of New England Patriots defense, and that's not even an exaggeration. They got Danny Shelton, Trey Flowers, Jamie Collins, and Deron Harmon now, who are all going to be starters for this defense. That is literally 4 out of the 11 of the starters over the 2018 season. Hey, again, whatever, to each their own. They also added Desmond Trufant from the Falcons. They added Reggie Ragland, Super Bowl champion from the Chiefs. And this is going to be – they also added I said Danny Shelton. This is a bit of an underrated signing, okay? Not many people know this player. Darryl Roberts. Darryl Roberts is a 7th-round pick of the New England Patriots a few years ago. Spent a couple years on the Jets. I'm not saying this kid is Gilmore or Revis or Tre'Davious White, but this kid can play. And this kid can ball, and this kid can compete. So he's going now to a secondary that's going to have some experience, that's going to have some leadership, and more importantly, that's going to have some depth because they drafted Jeff Okudah out of Ohio State in their 1st-round pick. So just keep an eye out for that name. Other than that, man, listen, I don't trust anything what this offense is going to do. Adrian Peterson is going to be there racking up stats to try to get his stats higher and higher and higher. But that's about all he's going to do for you. What are they going to do? Win 4 wins, maybe? I don't know.
They may win more than 4 games, but I'll say it like this. Let me just say this. I think the most interesting pick here out of all those free agent signings is I don't know how to is it Hip Hop Anonymous? I don't know how to say his name, but Vitae from the Eagles.
Vitae. Yeah.
I think he is the one guy that I say if they can get a good starter out of him at the right tackle or left tackle position, that is going to be a good deal because they signed him to 5 years, $50 million. So
Yeah,
that's
they
saying
paid
that
him.
they want him. They want
Yeah.
him to be a part of this future on this offensive line. And he comes from a good culture of offensive linemen. So
certainly.
I think they're better than the Bears for sure. I think that they can make it interesting. And let's just be honest. If they run the football like they've been running the football with Kerryon Johnson, now with Adrian Peterson, who's played now, I think, on every team in that division, it is what it is. I mean, hey, we got some interesting things that we can talk about there.
Certainly,
now, in the words of Bill Belichick, on to Green Bay.
On to Green Bay. On to Green Bay. Let's talk about Green Bay. As far as their departures, really and truly, nobody worth mentioning. And that's not a slight on anybody, but nobody that they're gonna miss. Geronimo Allison, Jimmy Graham, good riddance. Brian Bulaga is gonna be missed, but I think it was time for that breakup to happen. Jared Valdir, he was simply a depth guy, not somebody of significance. Blake Martinez and Kyler Fackrell, they're 2 linebackers. They both went to the Giants, and again, they're not going to be missed. I mean, Blake Martinez is a decent player, B-minus player maybe, and then they also lost Tramon Williams. Again, hopefully he can put on a microphone one day and be some sort of position coach for that secondary. But I think they are sitting pretty because they didn't lose anybody as significant, but they added some decent pieces. We're going to start with Jerm with free agency and then go to Vic for the draft.
Simply put, you lose Bulaga, you get Rick Wagner to replace him at right tackle. Perfectly fine. I'm not saying he's better, but I'm just saying you just need to replace him.
Right.
You add Christian Kirksey instead of having Blake Martinez. He's a lot better in space. That's simple. Devin Funchess is going to be interesting because that gives you a guy who can play some X. He'll be able to play a lot of different positions with the wide receivers, but most importantly, that's going to free up some of those younger guys. And now we get Mr. AJ Green-ish Adams to be able to get some more one-on-one matchups or dictates a lot of more coverages. And Funchess is a guy who will benefit from that. So let's get to the draft picks.
Yeah, real quick, man, that Blake Martinez, like I said, for the Giants, it's a guy that racks up a lot of tackles, but it's when the running back is already 5 or 7 yards into the field, into the play. So, yeah, again, that's going to be interesting. But first round, they went with Jordan Love. That was probably one of the most shocking picks in this past draft. Aaron Rodgers, of course, wasn't very happy about it. Pretty sure we'll discuss that in a little bit. Jordan, I mean, this is a guy that we really liked. Again, somebody with high upside. Arm strength is there. We saw some leadership. We saw a guy that was very intense. Looked like he loved to play the game. He was from a Division II program where he, at times, did look like a man amongst boys, but then there was games where he wasn't looking very good. A lot of picks and stuff like that. Very undecisive, inaccuracy issues. There was a significant difference from his junior year team to his senior year team. Big differences there, especially on the offensive line. But other than that, there is rumblings out of camp that he is not having such a great camp. But we'll see how his career plays out. Second round, they got A.J. Dillon, running back out of Boston College. Probably one of the biggest thighs you'll see since Jamal Anderson. Other than that, to me, there's not much to be excited for this draft when it comes to the Packers. Jordan Love and A.J. Dillon, to me, are going to be the guys to look at, in terms of their future and what are they able to do, produce for them, on that roster.
For sure. I mean, look, I think to just go through my overview for Green Bay. I think I think they're gonna win the division. I'm gonna just keep it simple. I think they're gonna win the division. I think a second year with LaFleur and Rodgers is gonna be better. I think Aaron Jones and that committee, they're gonna come back stronger. AJ Green 2.0, as Jerm said, is phenomenal. Their tight ends are gonna get some production, whatever production they can get out of them. And I think that defense is gonna make some plays. They're a little younger. They got some better health on there. I I think Green Bay overall they're gonna blow by some guys. They're gonna win some easy games. I don't think they're gonna make a deep playoff run just because I still think there's some holes there. But I do think they're going to be a very good football team. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have another just Aaron Rodgers year, and the narrative is going to continue another year, and it's just going to be business as usual in Green Bay. Germ, you on mute, bro? You on mute?
It's this simple. Aaron Rodgers has to play better. The defense should be a lot younger. Utilize your weapons, and let's see where we may end up. You are no longer the second the best quarterback in your conference, or quote unquote consensus bet quarterback in your conference. It's over with. I'm just letting you know it over with. I don't care. They're gonna win 10 games and they're not gonna do anything else. Why? Because the quarterback ain't worth two damn flies mashed when it matters. Period. That being said, go Kirk Cousins.
Vic, overview for the Packers.
Hey, I mean, I think the Vikings are gonna be somebody that's gonna push them for that spot. So
For sure.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one because again, as much Aaron Rodgers, we try to keep away from Aaron Rodgers slander in this show today. Germ couldn't help it, but as much as he can still perform,
I'm not nice like Vic.
as much as he can still perform at a high level, I still think the Vikings may be able to take this division by one game. It's going to be tight.
Okay.
So I'll take the Vikings.
That about wraps it up. Great job, fellas. Great segment, great series. But it wouldn't be us if we didn't finish it with a bang. So just for shits and giggles, excuse my French, YouTube, I'm gonna go around the horn. Give me the first two names that pop up. We're gonna go Germ, Vic, and then me. Super Bowl predictions. Germ, two teams. Who plays in the Super Bowl?
Chiefs.
Just
We, the people. Tampa
Vic.
Bay Buccaneers.
I can't disagree with that. We got Kansas City versus Tampa Bay, bro.
Kansas City versus Tampa Bay all the way around. We didn't even plan that shit. That's just to show you the lab is the lab, and it'll forever be the lab. Thank you for tuning in. Season coming along in a few days. We hope this show gets you prepared for a full season ahead, and we sure got more coming to get you prepared. Take us home, Shrew.